Everybody, and welcome back to NorCal Slot Car Scene. Yesterday we looked at what NSR is coming out with in 2025, and as I mentioned then, because of the Nuremberg Toy Show, there's quite a few new announcements coming out, and Scalextric just released their line for 2025 today. I'm not going to go over the entire Scalextric line because it doesn't appeal to a lot of the racers in 32nd scale slot car racing. There's some exciting cars coming out for the hobbyist end of the industry as well. So let's take a look at what Scalextric has for 2025. But before we take a look at the cars, if you want to see what's coming out in the entire 2025 line from Scalextric, go on over to That Slot Car Guy or Slot Car News. They have a complete rundown of the entire Scalextric line for 2025. I'm going to only talk about a few cars that appeal to me as a vintage racing fan, as well as an enthusiast for 32nd scale slot car racing. The first one is the Ken Miles Triple Pack. If you're interested in sports car racing and endurance racing, everybody knows the name Ken Miles. And he became much more popular after the release of the movie Ford versus Ferrari. So this triple pack is going to be a great one for collectors as well as enthusiasts of racing in general. You've got his Ford GT Mark II, the GT350, and the 289 Cobra. Now for contemporary racing, Scalextric is announcing some brand new race cars. The Mustang GT3 in two different liveries will be available. And as far as the availability of these cars, I don't really have any information on whether some of them are first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So you just have to keep your eye out for Scalextric when they actually announce the release date of specific cars. They're also coming out with a Porsche 963, which will complement the Cadillac that was out last year. So they'll now have two Le Mans hypercars or IMSA GTP cars as well. Now we do race Trans Am in Northern California, and there's a few new cars coming out for the Trans Am series. And the first is obviously a Camaro, and it's just a new livery, so nothing special. But they are continuing to build on this Trans Am line, which I think has been very popular for them. Another new car coming out in the Trans Am is kind of interesting because it's not the typical Mustang or the Camaro and so forth. It's the AMC Hornet that was driven by Buzz Dyer in the Trans Am. So a different looking car coming out for the Trans Am racing. Another car that kind of fits into that line, even though it's not a Trans Am car, is a very popular car from the British Touring Car Championships because it was unique. It was a station wagon, or as they call them in England, an estate. The Volvo 850, according to Scalextric, this is the first time this has ever been produced in 32nd scale for a slot car. There's a couple of vintage racing cars that they're coming out with. One is the BRM P57, driven by Lorenzo Bandini, I'm pretty sure in the early 1960s. And there's also a two-car pack. This is Jimmy Clark and Graham Hill in the BRM and Clark in the Lotus. So it commemorates the 1963 Monte Carlo Grand Prix. They're not leaving the rally fans out, and there's, like I said, there's quite a few other cars, but I really like these three-car packs. The 1965 Monte Carlo Rally triple pack featuring the Mini Coopers. They also have a three-pack of Colin McRae cars. So that's my quick look at Scalextric for 2025. Like I said, there's many, many more cars. I'm not going to go into the TV cars or the street cars, but if you want to see that, like I said, go over to That Slot Car Guy or Slot Car News, and they have a complete rundown of what's coming out for 2025. This is the cover shot of the catalog, which should be available shortly, and the catalogs typically become very collectible as well as the cars. So thanks everybody for watching. This is Jim Rose with NorCal Slot Car Scene.